point does a cyber incident stop becoming just cyber and becomes a cyber fraud event?
Yeah, I think it's as soon as money movement occurs. So if you look at a bank, banks are pretty fortified digitally. It's pretty hard to hack into a bank these days. Nation states can do it. Maybe very sophisticated actors can actually hack into a bank, but they can social engineer the call center. They can use data from some kind of other event. But once you get into that account and control a bank account, for example, and start moving money, it moves from some kind of intrusion or breach to money movement and fraud.
Okay. That's pretty crazy, right? What's the biggest shift you've seen in how fraud is executed over the last few years?
So I've been doing this for a little while. Again, investigated old school check fraud and ID theft and account takeovers, but most of the targets were the banks themselves. Threat actors were targeting some kind of system or control within the bank. They're trying to get their hands on plastic. They're counterfeiting checks. But what's really interesting is in the last year especially, I'm not saying they weren't doing this before, but I'm just seeing an uptick in it. The fraud threat actors are targeting the victims themselves, meaning the account holders. So instead of trying to get information through the bank or through the call center at the bank, they're contacting victims, account holders within that bank. They're spoofing the bank's phone numbers. They're convincing that victim, who's now the primary target, hey, I'm from the bank, you need to give me your one-time passcode, or you need to give me your credentials because we're trying to protect your account or something like that. So I think that's a really new shift. And I talked to a lot of folks in the industry, almost everybody I'm talking to, especially credit unions, mid-sized banks, that $1 to $40 billion asset-sized bank, all their customers are getting hit with this tactic. It just kind of shifted a little bit, and it's very effective. It's a really effective way to scan the bank.
Where does that burden lie? Would it be with the customers, the institutions, or the threat actors? It's a very funny hypothetical.
Yeah, so this is a great question too. I'm super glad you brought this up because a lot of banks take the position that, well, your account holder gave up that information, so that's not on the bank. They're still victims though, and yeah, they did give up their one-time passcode, which is still widely used. Sometimes they give out like knowledge-based authentication, but it really depends on the bank. If you ask a victim, they think it's on the bank. If you ask the bank, they think it probably should be on the victim. It probably lies somewhere in between, but right now I don't think there's very clear guidelines on who bears that risk.